Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday's Wealth Live with Sandy R. This is just an opportunity to share the wealth. This is what these weekly lives are all about. Okay, no strings attached. It's just the world in which I operate, which is working with the top guy in the world, which is being immersed in the most powerful material in the world that shows you how to create success. It's so amazing. It's so uplifting. It's so energizing, right? It raises your beliefs, your confidence, your hope, the faith that your next chapter is going to be a success. This kind of stuff is just so life-changing. And there's so much of it. There's so many intricacies to it that I want to share as much as I can. Okay. So that's what these weekly lives are all about. So it's a privilege to be here in front of you. And so every week, I'm just entertaining a different question. And if you have questions as we're going along, then put them in the chat. I would love to have a back and forth. Okay, this is meant to be an interactive. So the question, and if you have questions for future lives, just let me know. So the question here is, I hear this a lot. Okay, so let's talk about this one. I'd love to go big. I'd love to really go for a big new chapter, whatever that is, whether it's leaving your job and starting a new business, whether it's, you're in middle management and you really want to go for big, C-suite stuff, corporate executive stuff. Whether you've been playing it small, whether you intend to or not, playing it small in network marketing, and you want the top rung. You want to be on the stage training, so there are lots of examples. Maybe you've been home for a while because you've been raising kids, or maybe you've had health issues, or maybe elder care has come into play for you. And now you want to create a fabulous next chapter. I'd love to go big, but I don't know how. I'd love to start a new business, but I don't know how. I don't know how. So that's the topic today, is getting tripped up on that how. And I'm going to tell you, the masses get tripped up on the how. The masses get tripped up on the how. Because, you go, oh, I would love to go for this big new chapter, but I can't see how to do it. It's like looking at the top of a mountain and you can't see the paths that lead up to the top of the mountain. And so you don't start. As Don Shula, he's an NFL coach, he said it's the start, I think it's him, it's the start that stops most people. And it's the start that stops most people because we can't see how. One of the reasons is, a key reason is, we can't see how. So we don't. Oh, don't make that mistake. Do not get tripped up in the how. Because I've heard so many times, as soon as I can see how, okay, so, and this may be you, as soon as I can see how I'll do it, oh, then I'm willing to commit and make things happen. Guess what? It doesn't work that way. Success doesn't work that way. If you're going for big goals, you won't see how to get there. It's actually the fun in figuring out how to get there. And the how will start to become evident as you go. Now you might go, oh, that's a little risky. I can't figure out how, but I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say yes. After, there's over a century of study and research into the science and mechanics of success and achievement. And all success begins with a desire first. And when you get clear, so here's the thing. You don't have to know how until you actually get going. And that's such a shift for most people. Because again, we don't want to take the risk unless we can see how we're going to do it. Once we can see how, well, then I'm willing to commit. I'm willing to take the risk. But here's the thing. Your mind doesn't know how to make it happen until you're fully committed that it's happening. So you've actually got it, and most people have it in reverse. How crazy is that? Have you got it in reverse? I know I did, because I didn't know how success worked. So I was waiting to have all my ducks lined up. I want to do my due diligence. I need to think about it. I want to see if I can make the ducks line up, and then maybe I'll commit. That's the wrong way. Don't make that mistake. And if you think about your own past, how many times have you been tripped up with trying to figure out how to make it happen, get all the ducks lined up first before you do something? How many times have you done that? So you don't have to know how. And I'm going to explain that to you right now. Why do you not need to know how? Because once you get clear about what you really want and you're emotionally engaged, it can't just be a wishful thinking. It can't be just consciously, yeah, I'd love to start my own business. I'd love to leave my job and start my own business. That ain't good enough. It won't work. That's risky. But if you get clear, I would love to start my own business. This is what I think it would be all about. I'm not figuring out the how. It's what I want to do. What do I love to do? What am I good at? How can I help people? That's what I call the sweet spot. The intersection of those three. And when you get clear on that, and you're jazzed, like, oh, I would love to do that. When you're clear and you're jazzed, then, and you commit. When you commit, you hit the go button. Okay, what do I mean by the go button? So some of you might have heard me use this analogy before, and it's a great analogy. Your mind is like a GPS. Your mind needs a clear destination. You can't just say, I'm going to Canada. I'm going to France. It's like, well, where? Where specifically are you going? Right? So your mind needs the clarity. And that emotional element, that emotional engagement is the fuel. So your mind needs the clarity, the emotional engagement is the fuel. And then you need to, for a GPS to work, you need to hit the go button. And then when you hit the go button, what does the GPS do? It pops up the route and often some options, some alternative routes, right? So does your mind. This is why you don't have to worry about how. Don't get tripped up on the how. Get clear on what you really want. Find out that, inject that fuel. Yeah, I'd love to make that happen. Your emotional engagement, your desire is your fuel. And then hit the go button. Make the committed decision that it's happening. And that, when that go button, when that committed decision from you, which means you're closing off all other routes, you're going that route, whatever it is you really want, you hit the go button. And then and only then does your mind pop to the new level of making that happen. But for those of you who don't commit, because I need to see the how, your mind's not working on that energy, on that frequency, at that level of your dream goal. It's not up there thinking of how to make it happen. It's down here where you are now. You're not committed. So trust, you don't even have to trust me on this. Just think of some examples in your life where you have gone after something big. And it might be, maybe you wanted to buy a house. Maybe you've gone after a job, a new job. Maybe it's starting a new business, right? Maybe it's taking a big, huge vacation. So when you've done it, like say the house, okay, as soon as you get excited, oh, I'd love to buy a house. I'd love to buy a house. Oh, I've always wanted my own house. It's like, you know what's happening? It's happening. And as soon as you made that decision, your mind, only then, your mind started to pop a bunch of ideas, right? Okay, better find a real estate agent, maybe a mortgage broker, better go talk to the bank. Let's go scout some areas. Let's figure out what kind of house we want. Do we like open plan or closed plan, new house or old house? Your mind now starts to fire off some new ideas to make it happen. And that's actually how the mind works. When you make that committed decision, it's like you're pressing the button on the GPS. And when you press the button on the GPS, you get your route and some options. So works your mind. And your mind, you might get some neat ideas and start moving towards it, but that idea didn't really work. Well, just like a GPS, what happens on a GPS when you take a wrong turn? Right? The GPS reroutes itself. So does your mind. But your mind has got to know, I'm going there. I'm going there. I don't want to settle for anything else. I'm going there. So your mind will continue to focus on, how do I make it happen? How do I make it happen? How do I make it happen? And you know what? Your mind sometimes can only find a couple of ways to start moving. But once you reach those new destinations, or work on those new ideas, and you achieve that, then boom, some more ideas pop. So it's like going up the mountain. You can't see the whole way up, but you can see base camp. So your mind will take you to base camp, and that base camp, then you go, oh, now I can see some more paths. So you've got to let your mind go to work for you. That's what's so beautiful about your mind. You got to let your mind go to work for you, but you have to let it go to work. It won't go to work unless you've got a clear destination. You've put the fuel in the tank there. You're emotionally jazzed up. Whoa. And you commit. And then your mind, it's amazing what your mind will start to pop out for you. Have you ever gone, oh, I never thought of that? You never thought of it because you were committed. Your mind wasn't working at that level. How often have you heard that? Oh, geez, I never thought of that. Or why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I think about that before? Because your mind wasn't working on that level. When you understand how success works and how the mind works, you can make your mind go to work for you in the right way, in a certain way that accelerates, that eases and accelerates your path to success. It's so cool how the mind works. So don't get tripped up on how am I going to do that. And you know what? Steve Jobs, great quote from Steve Jobs. He says, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots looking back. So you going forward towards your goal, you won't be able to go here and then here and here and here and here. Boom. Not a big goal. So you've got an incremental goal, of course you can, but we're not talking about incremental goals. We're talking about high-level success that you would really like to see. A fabulous, successful new chapter. Those types of goals, you can't connect all the dots going forward. You won't see all the dots. But when you arrive, you'll look back and go, oh, yeah, I did that, and that gave me a new idea that took me over here, and then I met someone, and that took me over here. So you connect the dots looking back, not forward. Stop getting tripped up by, I got to figure out how first before I'll commit. I got to get all my ducks lined up first before I commit. No, you don't. You don't. And if you want to find out a little more about this, I've got free training going on next week. Free training going on next week called Fast Path to Success. I am so excited. I'm going to start showing you. I'm going to pump a lot of information. Simple, but it's going to be powerful. That's going to show you how to create how to create a new and an accelerated path to success. No more struggle for success. It incorporates what I'm talking about today and so much more. All next week for about 45 minutes each day live. There's homework. There's going to be a workbook. So I will post the link. Get in there and join me. I'm going to give you so much. I don't want you struggling anymore for success. I don't want, you know what? A lot of us have gone after success, jumped in wholeheartedly, hoping and wishing and expecting a great level of success for whatever we're trying to do. And we've jumped through all these hoops of strategy and planning and marketing and social media and selling and it's just so much, only to be left wanting, only to be disappointed in the results. And then you're exhausted and you're frustrated and sometimes you're even disillusioned and you're settling for less. Okay, no more. I'm going to show you on the Fast Path to Success system. I'm going to show you how to create an accelerated path to success because I want you succeeding. This is all free. I'm going to share a lot for you. And I want to change the way you look at creating success. And I want to change your experience with accelerating, with success, with it happening for you. I want your new chapter, your next chapter, to be extraordinarily successful. And so I'm going to share this all week next week. So look out for the link and enroll. It's free, okay? But enroll so that you can get sent the workbook, okay? And then we will look after you. It's going to be a blast. I'm just so excited to do that. And I think that's about all. Last question. What's my time like? Okay, we're good. So if you can't see how, so this is another one I hear a lot. If you can't work out how to do it before you commit, how do you know it's right then? Doesn't that feel risky? It's a good question, right? So when you understand how success works, and success is an exact science, there's certain things you have to do first, followed by some other things. We're not taught this. If I were to ask you, what do you do first for success? And then what are the next things you have to do? Do you know? Nobody has the answer to that, unless you're immersed in what I'm immersed into. So when you understand how success works and that it all begins with desire, and the more emotionally engaged you are with what it is you really want, and when you make that all in commitment, that shifts your thinking, then you know you're going to figure it out. And that's how do you know it's right? You'll know it's right if you're in, again, and I teach this, okay, if you're in your sweet spot and you really, really want it, Bob Proctor will say, the only thing you have to know is, do you really want it? Do you really, I mean, really want it? Because when you do, that's desire. That's not just wishful thinking. That's not just an intellectual exercise. It's desire. And all success begins with desire. And then when you know, that's how you know it's right. If it's desire, we don't get any desire in our hearts that we're not capable of achieving. So you'll know it's right if the desire is strong, if you truly give yourself permission to explore, what do I want? What's on purpose for me? And on purpose is finding your sweet spot. I'm going to talk about that more next week. I'm going to share some cool stuff with you next week. I so want you to have an accelerated path to success. I'm going to help you make that happen next week on the training, okay? So you'll know if it's right, because if it's coming from within, our inner voice, desire comes from within. That inner voice does not mislead you. It doesn't, but we don't tend to trust it enough. We're not conditioned. We're not taught to trust that inner voice. It's like trust the environment, trust the economics, trust what other people are saying, and don't trust ourselves, our inner voice. No, wrong answer. Wrong answer. So that's how you'll know if it's right. There isn't risk if it's really something you really, really want. Okay? Again, I'm going to get more into that next week. So I want to leave it off there. Please don't get tripped up on the how. You do not have to know how to make it happen. You just have to know that you really want it. That emotionally, yeah, I want that. Okay? That's how it begins. You don't have to worry about the how. It will kick in, I guarantee you. If you have any questions, post them here. I'm happy to answer any questions after the broadcast. Otherwise, thanks for joining me for Wednesday's Wealth. I love sharing the wealth. And look out for the link if you want to join me in the Fast Path to Success System training I'm doing all next week. It's only about 45 minutes a day. Okay, look for the link there and join us. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye for now.